guys, and welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is the brutal abduction and murder of Jamie Stice. I'd just like to let you know, I mean no disrespect whatsoever to anyone I'm going to talk about today. I've just gathered this information from the internet and compiled it into a video for educational purposes. Jamie Stice was born in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and she was described as this really nice person. She was such a beautiful soul. She was a really trusting and kind-hearted person. She had these dreams of becoming a social worker and working with children, and she was just such a lovely young girl. She lived with her mother Jeannie and her stepfather, and they got on really well. They had really good family life, and they were just all really close together. Now, of course, Jamie was a very active person on social media, like so many people are these days. Jamie actually became pregnant, and when she found out, she was so excited. She was so elated. Jeannie was so happy for her, and she was just really ready to become a mother, and it was just amazing for her. She would actually sing to her unborn son in her belly, "You are my sunshine." She would post on Facebook that she couldn't wait to meet her son, and she already picked out his name early on. He was going to be called Isaiah. Now, Isaiah means God is salvation, and she said that she wanted his name to mean something. And she was just so happy, so excited to meet her baby boy. She was just 21 years old and 7.5 months pregnant when she was brutally murdered by 33-year-old Kathy Coy. Let me just give you a little bit of background about Kathy so that going through this case you don't get confused or anything like that. She was recently divorced. She had 2 teenage children, a boy and a girl, and she had been faking these pregnancies so that she could try and get back with her husband. In her eyes, that was how she was going to do it. And her husband was called Shannon Coy, and she really wanted to be back with him. However, he didn't obviously want to be with her, so she would fake all these pregnancies and things like that to try and get him back. Now, 3 weeks prior to Jamie's death, Kathy Coy sent Jamie a friend request. She basically said that she was pregnant, she was a close friend of one of her friends called Becca, and that she worked at a place that could get her baby clothes, that could get her money, and could just really help her out. Now, this was completely random. It was completely out of the blue. Obviously, it does happen on Facebook. I get friend requests myself to people that I've never known, but I don't normally accept them. Now, Jamie did think it was weird. She did wonder why on earth this person was messaging her. Why did they want to be friends on Facebook? So what they decided to do, her and Janie decided that they were going to go on Becca's profile and they were going to check her friends list to see whether this Kathy was on it. And she was. And being the trusting girl that she was, she accepted her friend request and they began chatting. She figured where was the harm in talking to her, because she seemingly was who she said she was. She was on Becca's friend list, and surely her just chatting to her wouldn't really do anything. It wouldn't lead to anything bad happening, and so why not? So they began talking. They shared their experiences of pregnancy. They were both pregnant, apparently, which, as I've told you, she was lying about. She was faking her pregnancy, but Jamie didn't know that. So Jamie had someone to talk to. She had someone to talk to what she was going through. Anything like excitement, fears. She just had somebody there that she could discuss it all with, who was going through the same as her. Yes, okay, you can discuss it with anyone, you can talk to your friends, but I guess it's easier in a sense to talk to somebody who's going through the same thing as you. Your cravings, anything like that. Talking about baby names, baby clothes. It's just something that people tend to do, and obviously if someone's in the same boat as you are both going through it at the same time, both are more understanding. They would also talk about relationship troubles, and they became really good friends, or at least Jamie thought they had. As I said, she was lying to her, so she was talking about relationship troubles with her husband. However, he was her ex-husband. She was no longer with him. He didn't want anything to do with her in a sense. And She was also lying to say that she was pregnant when she wasn't, but Jamie was so trusting. Jamie believed her. They had no reason to doubt her. Not only that, Jamie wasn't the only person that she had pretending that she was pregnant to. She was pretending to everyone in her own neighbourhood, her friends, everyone. She was pretending that she was pregnant, and I believe that some people didn't actually believe that she was pregnant either. So quickly, Kathy began going round to Jamie's house. It kind of went from every sort of couple of times a week to every other day to pretty much every single day. Kathy would offer to help with their bills, to help them financially, because they were struggling financially, I do believe. And Jamie just couldn't believe how lucky she was to have this person in her life who cared so much about her, so much about her family, would offer sort of to help pay bills and stuff like a long-time friend would. A lot of long-time friends would offer to help you out if you're in a sticky situation. And yeah, okay, they didn't know each other that well, but she was being so nice and she was offering her all this stuff. And Jamie would have felt flattered by it, and she would have believed every word that she said. Kathy seemed to really care about them. She earned their trust really, really quickly, doing all these helpful and kind things for them, and she managed to build up this relationship with them. Jamie, as I said, thought that they were really good friends. Even her mother thought that they were really good friends, because she put the ruse on her too. It was on Wednesday the 13th of April in 2011. Kathy went over telling Jamie that they were going to go shopping for baby clothes. Now, Jeannie actually had an appointment at the Social Security office, so Kathy being this lovely, friendly woman, was going to take Jeannie to the security office. She was going to take her to her appointment, drop her off, which she did. She was then supposed to go back and obviously take Jamie shopping. So on the point of Jamie's side, she gets in the car with Kathy. She goes to the security office, and Kathy tells her that she's going to go back. She won't wait outside for her, but she's going to go back. She's going to collect Jamie, and then she'll come back for her when the appointment's finished. This appointment was only 15 minutes away, so it wasn't very far. And obviously, she offered to take her there. She offered to take her back, and so that was the plan. Now, this appointment went on a little bit longer than it was anticipated. And so Jeannie just waited outside patiently, waiting for Kathy to pick her up. A little while later, Kathy texted her that she wasn't able to come and get her, that she was really sorry, it was unfortunate, but she'd actually gone into labour. And she was currently on her way to hospital, so she wouldn't be able to pick her up. It took Jeannie 3 hours to actually get home. When she got home, she didn't have a key because everything was in Kathy's car. She was supposed to be picking her up, so she left all the belongings, everything, in a car, expecting to get a lift home. Now, unfortunately, the keys were in there too, so she knocked on the door, expecting Jamie to be home. Obviously, Jamie and Kathy worked together because Kathy was en route to hospital. She was in labour, having a baby. Jamie wouldn't be there. Jamie would have just come home. Maybe the shopping trip would have been cancelled, and Jamie would be in the house. However, she knocked on, no answer. She tried to call Jamie, no answer. She called numerous times over a period of time, and there was just no answer. She literally couldn't get in her own home, so she had to wait outside. She waited outside for a long time until finally her husband came home, and obviously he had the key, so in they went. She searched the house for Jamie, but obviously she'd not answered the door to her, so it's just instinct to go and search the house. Maybe she, I don't know, was asleep. Maybe there was something wrong somewhere. So she looked around the house either way, and there was no sign of her. She got worried because Jamie was the kind of person that would always leave a note. So while searching the house, she would have been looking to see whether she left a note too. And she didn't. So where was she? Jamie would always leave a note. That was the kind of person she was. That was how she told her mother where she was. At all times, she would leave a note. And there was just nothing. So she rightly so got worried. She had tried to contact her many times and had no response. Also, unlike Jamie. So yeah, she was getting frightened as to where her daughter was. And why she hadn't left a note as to let her know where she was. She contacted her friends, she contacted people on Facebook, etc. And nobody knew where Jamie was. She then went on to contact Kathy. Obviously, Jamie was supposed to be with Kathy until she went into labour. But Kathy texted back saying that she was just at home. And Janie was just so worried about her daughter. She was desperately trying to find her. Now let's go into what happened to Jamie on her side after her mother had gone to the appointment. So Kathy came back to Jamie's house and she got in the car. She actually got greeted with a stun gun. Kathy stunned her and subdued her and then she drove her out into the country. She tied her wrists, and then she slit her throat and her wrists with a drywall knife. Kathy then went on to disembowel Jamie. She cut her baby, unborn baby, out of the womb, and she just took off with him. But what she didn't realise, I guess she didn't really look into it too much on the internet, because the police did later on find evidence of her searching up how to perform a C-section. She mustn't have looked at it too well, because not only did she take the baby, she took the uterus, the womb, and the 2 ovaries with the umbilical cord still attached to the baby boy. And that is just insane, because I don't know how she thought that she was going to get away with that. When you give birth, you don't give birth to all your internal organs as well. It's just, I just don't get it. She literally had a knife there. She mustn't have known what she was doing at all, because she could have cut them out and just have the baby with the umbilical cord. She could have said that she managed to cut it herself and made it a bit more plausible. But it was just so implausible, and it was just so horrific what she did. She's just full on running away with this baby with all of the mother's, with all of Jamie's female organs still attached, and it's just horrific. So Kathy drives to her friend's house. Her friend was called Jelly Lindsay, and she lived in Butler County. With the baby in this condition, with obviously everything still attached, and she went on to claim that she had given birth to him. Very, very, very strange. Shelley said that she arrived with no pants on. She was sat in the car, and she was actually sat on the placenta and the other organs with the baby in her arms. I did also read that the baby had grass on him too. Now, Kathy claimed that she had given birth in the car. So where the grass had come from, I don't know how she was going to try and explain that. But yeah, that was another thing. It must have been really traumatic for a friend to see this as well. Like, she's come round with this baby boy, claiming to have given birth with all of these organs attached. Surely a friend would have thought something was strange too. I don't know, I guess some people don't really know a lot about the human anatomy, but I don't know, surely you would know that when you give birth, you don't give birth to your organs too. I'm not saying that a friend is to blame for anything. A friend would have trusted her, would have believed that she had given birth to this baby, surely. Anyway, she called an ambulance and they waited for them to come. While they were waiting on the ambulance, Kathy actually asked Shelley to take a picture of the baby boy to send to her husband to show him that she had given birth to the stolen baby that she had murdered a woman for. At around 6 p.m, the ambulance arrived and they took the pair to the medical centre at Bowling Green, where they were then examined by Dr. Sarah Mangold. Well, this baby still had the female organs attached, yet Kathy still had all of her female organs, and she showed no sign of having been pregnant or given birth. I mean, I'm no doctor, but the arteries and the vital vessels that all connect up your organs to perfuse them, to give them blood, you cut it off, you're going to bleed out. There's just no two ways about it. You are going to bleed out. This woman would not have survived giving birth to this baby with all her organs attached and be roaming around carefree. It's just not possible. And of course, the doctor knew that straight away, so she reported her to the police. She said that there was no way this woman could have given birth. She showed no signs of being pregnant, and that literally she would not have been able to survive whilst these vital organs had been cut out of her body. So the police came, they took her in for questioning, and they wanted to know whose baby it was. Initially, she stuck to her guns. It was her baby. Yes, my baby. I gave birth. The fact that I'm not dead and bleeding out right now doesn't matter. That's my baby. Eventually, she then said that no, she hadn't given birth, but she had bought this boy off a woman called Ashley for $550. Okay. So during this time in the questioning, there are police at Shelley's house. There are police at Kathy's house. They're all looking into everything that they can to try and find out who this baby's mother was. They secured a car that she apparently gave birth in. Kathy would say that she would actually take them to the place that she bought the child, an area known as Plan O. Police went through her electronics, they went through her Facebook page, they were looking at a friends list to see whether there were any sort of women on there that were 30 weeks plus pregnant, of which they found 2. So the police went and checked on the first lady. She was completely fine. The second one on that list was Jamie Stice. They go around to Jamie's house and Janie opens the door. They ask if her daughter is okay, if she knows where she is, and Janie replies no. The last thing that she knows, she's been trying to get hold of her, she's been worried. The last thing she knew was that Jamie was out buying baby clothes with Kathy Coy, and she hadn't heard from her for hours. That was around about 11 p.m. at night. So police began questioning Kathy about Jamie. She still insisted that she had bought this boy from Ashley. She then changed it to say that actually there was no Ashley. She then changed it again to say Ashley killed Jamie. So the person that she just said, oh no, don't exist, I made them up, actually now they do exist again and they're the ones that killed Jamie. Then she said that she was Ashley. So I don't know, it was just a bit strange. She's going back and forth, she's going on about Ashley killed him, and then she's Ashley, so she's the one that killed him, which he did kill her. Of course, they arrested her. She was sticking to her gun. She said that they'd never find the body of Jamie. And then, I mean, like she did with everything else, she soon flipped over and admitted to where Jamie's body was. At around 4 a.m. on the 14th of April in 2011, the body of Jamie Stice was found. She was lying face down in a wooded area near Oakland, Kentucky. Her hands were tied behind her back, and she, as you well know, had been disemboweled. It came out that Kathy had actually faked pregnancies before, and she was obsessed with the thought of having a baby, the thought of being pregnant, and she also had a past criminal history. This plan had been brewing for months. She had been planning for months and months to steal a baby. As I said, she told everyone she was pregnant. There was a lot of people that didn't believe her. She told her 12-year-old daughter as well that she had had a miscarriage and that she wanted her 12-year-old daughter's help in kidnapping a baby, which her daughter of course refused, and I guess just thought that she was joking or something. There was never anything to support that she was ever pregnant and had ever had a miscarriage. She also went on to ask her 14-year-old son if he would commit murder with her, but when he refused, she said that I'm just joking, ignore me. Clearly she wasn't. The police found searches of how to perform a C-section on her electronics. So as I said, she'd been doing her research, but quite clearly not enough, because she thought that pulling out all female organs was part of giving birth to, I just don't know. She stole a sonogram photo to help her back up her claims of being pregnant. She was just really desperate to make people believe her, and a lot of people by all accounts didn't, and therefore she had to have this picture, she had to have all these things, and at the end of it, if she didn't have a baby, it would clarify that actually she was lying, she wasn't pregnant. And so in her head, she felt like she needed a baby at the end of it, and so she murdered Jamie for her son, and it's just awful. Also, there was a lot of people that did believe her because they had no reason not to, like her neighbours and things. She told them that they were pregnant. They thought, brilliant, I'm happy for you. They had no reason to doubt her. Why would you? Jamie had no reason to doubt her. And her trusting nature just sort of allowed her to believe everything that Kathy was saying, and that's just so sad. Kathy Coy was charged with the murder of Jamie Stice and the kidnapping of a minor. She pleaded guilty, but she also pleaded that she was mentally ill. Now that would allow her to avoid the death penalty. On the 1st of March 2012, she was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The remarkable thing about this case was that Isaiah survived. He was ripped out of his mother's body, 5 weeks premature. He had a brutal birth and he survived. He's fine. He was named after the name that his mother chose, and he now lives with his father. This case is a lot like the case of Bobby Jo Stinnett, which I've also covered. Her baby was also ripped from a womb and she was brutally murdered for it. And I just find it so insane how people can do these things. Again, her killer was caught and she was called Lisa Montgomery. She was put in jail and given the death sentence, and that sentence has recently been carried out. Obviously, in this case, Kathy was able to avoid the death sentence. I don't understand these kinds of cases at all. Did she struggle to get pregnant? Is that why she didn't get pregnant herself? Like, she loved the idea of being pregnant and things, so why not get pregnant yourself and have your own baby? I can't fathom how anyone could cut a baby out of their mother. and murder their mother and steal the baby. I just can't. This case was just so tragic. Jamie was so young. She was only 21. She was looking forward to motherhood. She was looking forward to meeting a son. She had a whole life ahead of her. And it was just all ripped away from her by this selfish woman who was kind of a monster hidden in sheep's clothing. This woman was just pure evil. She pretended to be a friend. She pretended to care for her. She acted all nice and did all of these things for her. She built up that trust over the days, built it up, and then she murdered Jamie. 9 months after Isaiah was born, Janie stated that the son that her daughter would never get to hold, who was named Isaiah Allen Stice Reynolds, is now crawling. He was a happy 9-month-old little boy, and that he would have been walking before they knew it. And she said that she keeps telling him over and over of how much his mother loved him and what she would be doing if she was here. And that's just so sad. She never got to see her son, and he never got to see her. He is forced to grow up without a mother because of one selfish woman. One selfishly evil, pure evil woman. And it's just tragic. Now he will be a little 9-year-old boy with only pictures and stories of the woman that his mother was. And that is all he has to hold on to because he never met her. And it's just horrible. My heart really, really, truly goes out to the family for the loss of such a lovely young woman. And the son that never got to meet his mother because of that monster. But yeah, that's the end of the case. If you guys have any more suggestions, let me know and I'll look into them for you. Give me a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for similar content. Anyway guys, that's all I have today on the case of Jamie Stice. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!